All right, so let's go back to the seller. So I'm on a listing appointment, and I want to know from you I want to know, talk to the agent listening right now. In your experience, what are the 3 to 5 things from a marketing standpoint that causes a seller to say, "Yeah, I want that"?
That's a really good question. In my world, they used to like print ads, but I never believed in print ads.
No.
So I'd much rather spend the money on video marketing, and I can show them the numbers. You put the video on there, you get however many views. Print, I think for the more mature sellers, print is still of interest. But the bottom line is, and I always ask them this question, I'm curious. This is like one of my first qualifying questions. How'd you happen to find your home when you bought it? Whether it's 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And they always tell me, well, I found the LA Times. Or I was at a party and my friend mentioned this, or I'd always loved this house and I heard it was coming on the market. So I ask that question so that I can direct my marketing in the way they want. And I always ask them this as well. When I come out to meet you on Monday night at 5, what do you want to see, hear, or know, or feel in order for you to feel confident to make the decision to list your home with me? And depending if I want to see your marketing plan, or I want to know the stats and the results, or I want to feel comfortable with you and make sure we can work together. So it's either they're emotional, they're analytical,
kinesthetic, data-driven, like visual.
So then my presentation becomes specifically geared towards the way they think, but then you don't always know what the wife or spouse knows.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah, but there's always a driver.
All right. So thoughts on listing presentations, or we talk about marketing now?
I want to go marketing. I want to hear what because I want to. So this is a big question for a lot of people.
This is an interrogation.
So
Christophe, tell us what we want to know.
Christophe and I were together at a summit, and I, met this, crazy kid from Jersey, Gary Vaynerchuk, who got on stage and said the F word 458 times. Cute story, by the way. One of our clients from Dallas, Texas. I'm sorry if I'm forgetting your name. Total Southern belle, sweetheart of a gal. I see her, she's like a nun librarian, right? Walking back, and literally I see her coming, and I'm standing next to Kathy. And
that day at the summit.
That was at the summit. Gary's on stage, and he's like, beep, 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 right? And all of a sudden, she walks up to me, and I'm just waiting for her to lay into me. And I'm just be empathetic, just smile.
I'm leaving your company. This
right?
Is
I can't believe this. She turns, she's like, darling, she said, are you recording this? I was like, yeah. She goes, I'd really like to get this to my pastor. This guy's amazing. I was like,
where do you go to church?
I was like, wow,
exactly.
Your pastor's into Gary Vee. But you and I were both there.
Yep.
You, Eileen Rivera, Lisa Doyle, so many of our friends raced out and bought that flip video camera.
5 o'clock, I went right there.
Was, and immediately straight into YouTube, shooting videos. So what have you learned on your video journey when it comes to finding your tribe, connecting with people? What do people like? What do they not like? What have you learned?
So 2,800 plus videos later in 12, 14 years.
Yeah.
I think we have 36,000 subscribers or something like that.
Your YouTube's killer.
Thank you. And of course the YouTube followers I do get real deal clients that really watch and find me and do deals. But a lot of it are just people who like to watch fancy homes and videos and all that kind of stuff.
That's okay.
If someone, and I always ask people when they come, how'd you find out about me? If they say it's from a video, I kind of already know they want to work with me.
Right.
Otherwise, they wouldn't call me.
Oh, say that again, please.
If they call me from a video and they said they found me from videos and they call me talking about buying or selling, I know they want to work with me.
Why?
They like me. And I think...
Jason, have you said that ever in an event?
Maybe once or twice.
1,000 times.
And I think that's, aside from all the marketing, all of this stuff, it's likability.
Right.
You don't have to show. I've been many presentations where I just talk or ask them questions. Should we get started? And yeah. I don't show anything. I mean, I'm prepared.
Yeah.
But they have to like you. Yes. I think that's the number one thing.
So we talk a lot about in creating content, finding your tribe, creating content in buckets or themes that you're comfortable in.
Yep.
What are some of the themes that you're most comfortable in, and what do you see that resonates the most with clients?
So I'm comfortable in any theme with videos. That's fine. The one thing I'm not a TikTok funny kind of do funny silly things.
I so want to get you dancing and pointing at like stupid things.
Well, I can dance
Armani.
and do that. I mean, I would do it.
Yeah. Prada, Armani. That's God.
I would do that. It just.
We have to do that today. We have to do it. I want it on my page just to see how much it blows up.
Let's do it. I think let's do that before we leave. So,
oh my goodness.
What people like on YouTube are my driving tours for sure.
Okay, Thank you very much, because it is to this day it is one of the things I still talk about it all the time.
Yep.
So explain to the person that hasn't watched one of your driving tours. What do you do?
Basically, it's really simple. I take my iPhone, I have a little mount in the window. I do a little, hey, it's Christophe Choo. I'm going to drive you around this particular part of LA or Beverly Hills. I turn the camera around and I just drive the streets, and I know my numbers and the houses. And well, this one was bought by this one. This one sold 5 years ago for $10 million. It just sold for $20 million. And this billionaire lives there. And I have to be careful with who I say lives where and what. But if it's public knowledge, I can say it.
But you also talk about architecture and design, and
who the architects
and
are,
and this is where the park is, and right,
everything, and the proximity to why be in Beverly Hills versus Brentwood or Holmby Hills or Bel Air. Bel Air is more of a country lifestyle, but you're 5 minutes from Beverly Hills. Or you're in the flats because you want to be a few blocks away to walk to the restaurants and stores, or you want to be up in the hills because you want the view. So you have to kind of talk about what those areas
accentuate.
offer.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when buyers call me, they ask for moving into an area. I have to explain to them, what do you really want? What are the top 3 or 4 things you want? Is it views? Is it privacy? Is it, whatever that is? So I think that's really an important factor. So driving tours, and it's really simple. I just talk about it and drive it. There's no editing. It just goes online.
That's what I love. And when did you shoot the first one?
Oh God, probably 11 or 12 years ago.
Exactly.
Right when I started doing my videos.
Courtney, did you hear that?
Yeah.
11 or 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was probably with a flip video camera.
I think it was. Yeah. Yeah, because iPhones I've only had like 8 or 9 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So think about it. For everyone listening right now, like that's something that you and I still talk about and we share.
Oh yeah.
Timmy Smith took what you did and did the same thing. He was like driving communities. Then you guys all went helicopters.
Yep. Yeah.
Talk about your helicopter video, because that still, like, how many views did that get?
Oh, I think overall like 3.5 million views overall. Yeah. Since we did it. That was my first production video. Yeah.
Talk about that. What do you mean first production video?
Well, my videos were just flip cam, just saying stuff and showing things. So, and it happened in an odd way. I got a random phone call from 2 guys that were USC students doing their graduate,
like film school, something. Yeah.
No, they were football pros, but they were in business school and they had to do some kind of project. And they had called 300 of the top agents from Santa Barbara to San Diego to say, hey, we want to do some videos. I was the only person to call them back. I called them back.
Wow.
Rep Interactive.
Wow.
I'm sure you've heard of them now.
Sure, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
2 guys came, Steve and Andy, 6'5", football
Heard of them.
guys.
Yeah.
And I'm not into sports, and so I'm like, who are these guys, right? And like they want to do videos. So they walked in the door. I said, what kind of video? I said, let's do a helicopter tour of the most expensive houses in LA. I'm like,
let's
these
do
are
that.
college kids. So let's do it. And luckily, their friend was not Tom Ford, Harrison Ford's son, who owned the company called Helinet, who did all the videos for Planet Earth series.
Yes.
So it was a special twin blade helicopter with special stabilizer cameras.
Right, all the cameras.
That's why the footage was so amazing.
Now that's bananas. Let's go.
So I came up with a concept. I said, these are the houses we're going to do. We storylined it, we did it, we shot it, we filmed it, and we created it. It was just I'm always one, if I like the idea, I just try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Okay, it was so funny. So in my notes of prep, disciplined, early adopter on video, right? Consistent luxury real estate rock star, willing to try anything. He'll test everything once or twice to say, does it work for me? Is it good for me? Is it good for my clients? So if an agent's listening right now and they're like, okay, I got it. I'm going to work on myself on the inside. I'm going to steal someone's Rolls Royce. Don't actually do that. And drive it around town and like get to know the area. I'm going to study the architecture.
I have clients who can borrow a Ferrari anytime they want from the local dealership.
For sure.
And for that video, I borrowed a Bentley because I didn't have a Bentley and I wanted a nice car for the video. So they loaned me the Bentley.
Yeah, versus that schleppy Mercedes you've been driving. Loser.
It was better than my first car, 1971 orange VW Bug. I drove around for a year and a half.
You know, if that was a 1970, I'd probably buy it.
Oh, wow.
I had an 81 Accord that had nothing but duct tape for upholstery as my first car.
Sweet.
Hey, we all have humble beginnings.
And I shared it with my brother.
Right. At least you had a car.
Yeah, exactly.
At least you had a car.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had a car.
I was like hitchhiking. Oh, yeah. I was walking to school uphill both ways.
With your mohawk, you didn't get beaten
up? Yeah, exactly.
But you're from California.
All of a sudden?
Yeah.
You're from Southern California.
So if you were talking to somebody today and they were like, okay, I want to shoot videos. I want to make my name or my presence more well-known in this higher-end marketplace. What are the 3 to 5 videos you would shoot?
I would, depending on where you live and work and what's important in that town. I mean, I would really look at the key influencers in the town, whether it's talking to the mayor or the principal of the school or the police department, or some maybe, especially nowadays with COVID, maybe some local businesses that are struggling, they could really use some support. I think that's a really important thing to do.
Yeah.
I think anything you can do to help, you're not doing the videos, yes, you will get stuff from it probably, but do it more from coming from a place of service to help them.
Yep.
I think,
Contribution.
yes. I think that's a really critical. And I think people get so caught up in, oh, I don't look good in the video or whatever. It's such nonsense. I mean, I always tell people, you look the way you look, whether you got a camera in front of you or you don't.
Right.
You meet clients every day,
Right.
buyers and sellers.
Yes.
You don't not go because your hair is messed up or you got a pimple. You still go.
Sure. Right.
So the only difference is you have a camera in front of you. And we were talking lunch today. I don't care if I'm speaking in front of one person or 10,000 or a million.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's the same. I try to connect with individuals in the audience.
Bingo.
So just be yourself and just be honest and be real. And you make mistakes, you say stupid things, which I do all the time, and laugh at yourself and move on. That's all.
So one is kind of an influencer strategy would be the way we describe it. Like take somebody of influence, create a video for them, honor them, talk about it's all about them, them, right? And it's on your page, and then they share it. What's video number 2?
Talk about why people would want to live where you live or where you want them to live. Like what are the things people want to move to Beverly Hills for? I mean, typically it's the safety, security, the shopping, the events and parties, the wonderful weather, the proximity to, an hour and a half to the mountains and skiing, and an hour and a half to the desert and golf, the beach in 30 minutes. So a lot of nice things. So talk about what you think would be important to them in terms of what the lifestyle is offered in your community.
If I could interject.
Yeah.
Something that strikes me about you is you're kind of like an art collector in the sense of you look at real estate in the communities almost like I think an art collector would look at art. Like you notice the nuance and the detail. You are completely passionate about the brands, about the areas, about the lifestyle, about the different types of finishes and whatnot.
Yes.
And so I think anybody watching should look at that and say, am I that passionate about luxury real estate and luxury living in my community? Because if I'm not, maybe I need to really invest myself in becoming the student of those things.
And also, if you're going to sell luxury real estate, especially for a lot of buyers that are moving into your community or they're buying at the high-end level, they usually have 2 or 3 or 4 homes around the country. You know that. So when they come, they want to buy a house, but then you not just an agent, you become their concierge.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, where'd I go get my hair done? Where'd I get my nails done? Where's the dry cleaner? We want a reservation at 7:00 tonight at Spago at 8:30 for 10 people. Let me see if I can make it happen.
Let me call Wolfgang.
Yeah.
Speak
and I always say, let me see if I can make it happen.
Right.
Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But if you can deliver, like I just got you a table for 10 people in an hour at Spago, you're all set. They really appreciate that stuff. And
I'm sure.
Buying jewelry. I mean, people like to buy jewelry and radios love it, right? So I'm like, why don't you go to this store, talk to Peter Marco or talk to Tellerico and tell them I sent you, and they'll call me and say, oh, your friend just bought an $800,000 diamond ring this afternoon. I'm like, oh. He says, yeah, but the husband was tough. He sat there for 2 hours looking at the GIA certificate and all this stuff. So you got to help them with,
that sounded like a real story, by the way.
It is a real story.
It did sound like a real story.
They want a private chef, or they want security guards. They need a new landscape architect. Just all that stuff.
I think the big thing that has always impressed me with you is you do your homework and you immerse yourself in the market you want to be in.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the message. Like I was chatting with my older son, and he was telling me, he's like, I just look around. He's like, there's just so many things to do. And I feel like I'm just light on a bunch of things, except for one, history, which is like his obsession, right? I mean, you've had these conversations.
I have never not had a fascinating conversation with him.
Right. And what I told him was, well, how long did it take you to get really good at history? He goes, well, I fell in love with history in like 2nd grade. I'm like, and now you're a senior in college, graduating with a master's or whatever your degree is in history. I'm like, so you've done this since the 2nd grade. Like, think about that. The person listening right now wants to go luxury on Tuesday.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that.
Nothing
Success doesn't work like that.
We know that.
Everything takes time.
Yeah.
So what would be fun for the listener right now is to think about the journey of the next 5 or 10 years, because what is expensive today is going to be really expensive in real estate in the next 10 years. Yeah. So if you start embedding yourself into the community, if you start doing the right things now and you play the long game, right? You might just end up with a master's in luxury, right? By studying the architects, by knowing who the builders are, who the quality builders, who the less quality, right? All those conversations that are important to someone that is buying a house like this, right?
And this is truly a 35 to 40 year journey for me.
Yes.
And it's not just like, I want to be a luxury agent, so I've got to learn this stuff. always loved architecture. And having been 6 years old going to France and seeing chateaus,
Yeah.
I didn't even know such a thing existed. I mean, LA is, 120 years old. I mean,
very new.
Yeah. Of course, there's new palaces and mansions that we've been to, but I just love beautiful architecture and particularly French architecture or ancient Italian, just beautiful architecture. And then, which comes in with landscape design. And then a beautiful home or a chateau has incredible antiques and art that spans, from 3rd, 4th century Chinese art and sculpture to Roman art and sculpture from 2,000, years ago. And I love that. And I look at it and I love jewelry and porcelains and it's just something I'm always had a passion about and I collect at a certain level. But I think because I love it, that's why if it's not really you, all that stuff is not you,
Bingo.
then I don't think it's the right direction to go just because you want to be a luxury agent.
Right.
It's not going to be congruent. It's not going to be natural and people are going to feel it.
Right. And you could just also be flash, cars, money, let's go.
Yeah.
Because that also works,
Yeah.
right? Like basically like we did a podcast earlier and the whole thing was like, what's your it factor? Right? Like, what is it about you? And what's so special about Christophe and everybody that knows you, it's the way you dress, the way you act, the way you treat people, his love for art, his love for jewelry, his like the finer things in life.
Yeah.
But the finer things in life for you are different from me.
Correct.
Different from Courtney, different from Jason,
Correct.
Brian. You two are exactly the same. Right? But so like everyone needs to get that.
Yeah.
You with me? And then just be you.
Yeah.
So I want to end with follow-up. So, people in the high end, they just make really fast decisions and just transact instantly, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
They've been looking in Beverly Hills for 14 years, missed 3 markets. How do you follow up with people? What are your
Good
best
question.
like 2 or 3 hacks?
First of all, with wealthy people, not be overly aggressive with them. I mean, you have to be aggressive in a certain way, but you have to be very careful of that.
Yes. How do you do that?
You have to try to know who they are and what they do and what their lifestyle's about, and pick the right moments. I think that's an art in and of itself, how to figure out. In the bottom line with wealthy, I think with any clients, when they want you, you better be ready for them immediately.
Bingo.
When you want to get after them, you won't hear from them for months until they're ready for something they want from you.
Right.
Yeah, that's just the way it is. So
Right.
It's not easy to do. But luckily in the social realm, it becomes a little easier because you tend to see people 3, 4 times, 5 times a year at different events. But the businessmen typically, when they're ready and they find the right thing, instant decision. They may be tough negotiating, but they make it happen. Celebrities and artsy people, they take forever to decide. Then the business manager comes in and the lawyer comes in. And
This is why I'm asking about follow-up.
yeah, and then you have to follow up with everybody.
Yes.
And then when younger people that are buying $3, $4, $5 million houses, a first-time purchase, then mom comes and cousin comes and Uncle Fred and and they all have their advice, and then you're not dealing with just the buyer and their wife, you're dealing with the whole family and 15 different opinions, right?
Right.
It's challenging, so you just have to do the dance.
Yeah.
It's like dancing on eggs.
So is it email? Is it text? Is it phone call? Is it
Text.
voicemail? Is it video? Like
Primarily text.
Yeah.
Videos, the bomb videos I send them and the videos messages, they don't really pay too much attention to that.
Yeah.
It's the text.
well, text is just so instant.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch a
What
video.
might you say in a text?
Yeah, exactly.
And what specific?
You're following up
I'll
on
create a scenario. Like
yeah.
let's say that it's a $20 million property.
You've been coming to Beverly Hills for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
For the last 5 years, we look at property with you.
Yeah.
And there's never something great, and you just found something great.
Oh, I just found something great for them. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. I will definitely text them, and usually, if it's off the market, it's got something really special for you. Do you have a minute to call me about it? I don't tell
Do
them.
you have something really? I have something really special for
I
you.
don't tell them what it is.
I like that.
I
It's
don't give away
good.
the information.
All right. Let's say that you don't have something special for me and you want to
That's
reach
the
out to
flip.
me.
Yeah.
Well, if they've been looking for 10 years, I probably would have already thought to myself, they're not really serious. Or they want to buy, well, if you find me the $20 million house for $10 million, I want a deal, then I'll buy it. Well,
I've been looking for 3 years.
And you one of those, you want $20 million house for 10?
No.
No, you're serious, but there's just
No, I'm
nothing on
just-
the market.
Let's pretend that I am some kind of an artsy person. I'm not making
Okay.
a decision. And we just kind of look, we have the means, we just haven't taken the step.
You're looking to buy a vacation home or you want to buy a permanent home?
Just one of my additional residences.
Additional residence. I probably keep touch base with you and say, by the way, there's great opportunities, and I would know if they're paying cash or not paying cash. I mean, right now my line is, hey, look, interest rates. Most people are paying cash, but not everyone does, right?
Yep.
Or even though if they have the cash, they're borrowing the money because it's much cheaper. They can make more money than that. And I'm like, Well, rates have been changing, and the projections are next year it's going to be in the upper threes, maybe even potentially in the fours. So have you thought really about making a decision sooner or later? Because the prices aren't looking to go down.
Yeah.
So I would just really very thoughtfully think about who they are, where they've been in the process, what our conversations have been. But sometimes buyers will come 2 or 3 years in a row and look at everything and don't find anything. And I remember one of the last foreign buyers I did, they were looking at a house. We were in negotiations on it. It was $10 million. And I just didn't think it was the right house. And there was a house for $16 million that had offers on it. And I said, this one house, the husband said to me, because he didn't want to pay the price for this house. He says, what do you think about this house? Do you think it's a good investment? I said, well, it's a good investment, but it's the most expensive house in the east end of the flats. It's brand new. It fits your lifestyle and your needs, but you're going to grow out of this house very quickly. Mm-hmm. There's one house you haven't talked about. I'd like you to see it tonight. Where is it? What is it? The wife says. I said, no, I'm just going to take you there. Took them there at 5. We came back at 8 o'clock. They went to the Pole Lounge for dinner. And I said, there are the 2 offers in the house. If you want this house, you got to call me tonight after dinner and make a decision. And I called the listing agent. I said, I think they're going to buy this. So if they write an offer tonight, I said, can I present the offer? He says, the seller gets home at 11. I'll meet you at the house at 11:30 at night. Never happened before.
I gotcha.
So they called me at dinner, said, we want to make an offer. I left the house, went back to the office, met them, wrote the offer. I said, you guys come with me in your car. You wait outside, which they did. I walked in, and it was a $14 million deal, all cash, 5-day escrow, 2-day contingency inspections. I think $5 million deposit.
Yeah.
And so I'm talking to the seller. He just came back from the hospital, and the agent's looking at the offer. He says to them, sign it. And they signed it. And they bought the house, and now they're buying another bigger one. And the funny thing is, one of the other offers was one of their friends that had made an offer. And as we're leaving, the agent said to me, look, the other buyers will only pay $1 million more. But I just told him that we signed the deal. The other $1 million more was their friends. So now, of course, so the day of the inspection, they brought me a Louis Vuitton briefcase and a Louis Vuitton shawl as a thank you. I said, we haven't even closed escrow. We just want to thank you for what you've done. So, So I really try to think about people and who they are and where they are. And sometimes you have to spend 3-4 years showing all these houses. And I remember the first day she wanted to look at 27 houses, like $3 to $5 million. Yeah. I'm like, these houses are not for you. Yeah. I'm telling you.
6 days.
Right.
And like we go to a couple of them, she's like, I don't want to go see that house. And I'd have to go in I'm so sorry, my clients are there, but they don't want to come in. And, the agents get upset. So it was like 2 years of that. And then they came and they bought just like that in a heartbeat.
Timmy Smith says to a billionaire client of his, he's like, I want to look at this $6-7 million house. And he's like, I really thought you were worth more than that. And the guy bought a multi-$10 million house.
Exactly.
He's like, well, is there anything good for me to see?
Yeah.
And you probably know the transaction
if you know the people
and you have rapport.
Is this like an income property?
Right. It's like, what is this? Is this for your daughter?
Look, everybody wants a deal.
Yeah.
But when you're rich, they don't mind paying what they have to pay if it's what they want. Period.
Yeah. Rapport, knowing what to say, confidence, willingness to do whatever it takes. Yep. Also willingness to be directive. That's what I'm hearing too. Yeah. Like the willingness to say, look, if you want, hey, you're going to grow out of this house. Yeah. Right. What the average person? Oh my God, please buy this house for $5 million. Oh my God, I'll be in seventh heaven. You're like, it's not going to work for you. Yeah. And there's something so powerful about telling people, no, you shouldn't do this, and here's why. Yeah. Because it's so not self-serving for you. It's only about them. Yeah.
And knowing why is because you're a student of your craft.
Yeah. Bingo. Yeah.
Completely.
Bingo.
And also
not some sales technique.
Yeah.
One of my clients had made offers on several of the $150, $300 million homes when they first came on the market. But when Mikowski came on at $350, we all knew it was worth 100 plus or minus. Yeah. But when it's a month in the market and you offer $85 million when he's asking $350, it's very difficult. And then finally, 2 years later, he sells for the number we offered day one.
Exactly.
And that happened on 3 or 4 different houses. But it just the timing wasn't right. So that's tough pill to swallow.
For sure.
Because you're sitting there offering you're counting the commission checks and all the stupid shit you're going to buy. And
right. But Christophe, one could argue everyone listening right now knows exactly how that feeling is, because just the pressure of taking any buyer out in any price range and writing an offer and not getting accepted. And I've gone through it myself trying to buy a house. And just, what do I have to do? Do I need to call that agent? Yeah. They're like, no, please don't do that.
Exactly.
Right. So I think we all get that. All right. So as we wrap this up, first of all, I love you.
Me too.
I appreciate you. Right, we had dinner last night. It was super fun. I can't tell the funny story we had quite a few laughs last night.
We did.
Jason, closing questions or thoughts or arguments for Mr. Christophe Choo? Yes, exactly.
Can I ask one more question?
Of course.
And maybe I don't know how long it will last or not. It's not a big one. I don't know.
We're on reel to reel, Jason. We're running out of tape.
Do you travel to other markets to learn other related markets?
I don't do it specifically to learn the markets, but whenever I travel around the world, especially with my international buyer pool, I definitely take a day or two of the trip to do that. When I went to Dubai,
I remember that trip in particular.
When I go to Paris, Laurent and Vanda own Co-Banker France and Monaco.
Yeah, I know them.
Yep.
I'll have lunch with them. I'll go tour a couple properties. Like they have big listings.
Yep.
I'll speak at their office and share my social media stuff with their office, meet the agents. Absolutely. And because, in the world of wealthy, whether it's they have a house in LA, they want a place in Arizona, maybe Palm Beach or Miami and New York City and maybe Paris. So you got to know those places.
You do.
Yeah.
Especially in the higher end, it's not uncommon that they have a New York place, a London place, LA, maybe Maui, Palm Beach.
Right.
So
Right.
you got to know what's going on in the marketplaces. So I definitely spend time touring properties with my best friends in those areas and just learning the market, even though I have no buyers particularly at that time.
Right.
Very
So
important.
smart. You think Stevie Cohen, right, coming to LA all the time to do the same exact thing.
Yeah, last time Stephen came, he took
Yeah.
me to lunch. We
Yeah,
sat down and we had lunch. Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
Patrick McLaughlin, who's in the Hamptons,
Yep.
and he's like, "Wait, all the buyers are coming from New York City." I'm like, "Well, you should go
should know that.
network with agents in New York." He's like, "Yes."
Yeah.
So much of it is agent networks.
Yeah.
And you talked about broker relations. You talked about being burned, obviously, on one that still pains you. Sorry for bringing it up, but broker to broker relationships. So that's the other thing for everybody listening right now. If you want to get into the high end, go get to know all the other agents.
Yeah, when I was in New York last, I went with Josh. We had breakfast, and then we went to look at a couple penthouses on Park Avenue and Fifth Avenue. And I got in his car, him driving through New York City.
Oh, and you're still alive.
I'm alive.
Shout out to Josh Rubin, Jill Biggs. Oh my God, have you ever driven with Josh?
Exactly.
Yes, I have, and I can.
But
I've
we have so many
lived.
wonderful people in your ecosystem
Yes.
that have become my closest friends in the business because we're like-minded. We all are mostly willing to work hard, and we're great at our craft.
Yep.
And we all have the same vision and goals and mindset to go forward. So it's great to be around those kind of people.
Love it, man. Love it. Thank you, pal.
Thank you, my friend.
Really appreciate
Jason,
it.
always a pleasure.
Yes.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you follow Christophe Choo on every platform. Go to his YouTube channel. Absolutely, yes. You should probably go to this guy's YouTube channel too. It's really, he's kind of getting into this whole video thing. I've been working on him a lot, so he's finally he's progressing.
I'm just doing what you do.
Just doing it better, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, so listen, thanks so much, guys. We'll see you on the next podcast.